Either you got on board the ship with us or you didn't, and I'm worried about those who missed it because this ship is sailing. Headwinds have shifted to tailwinds. We are leaving the storm, heading into blue skies and smooth sailing. The big resistance is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. What is it going to take for XRP to break through and hit that new all-time high into price discovery? Let's get you a quick update. Hope everybody's doing well. It is Wednesday, July 16, 2025, and we just got another, not the CPI lie, but the PPI lie. That's the producer price index. Inflation falling to 2.3%, below expectations of 2.5%. This is, meanwhile, we have core PPI inflation falling to 2.6%, also below expectations of 2.7%. On a month-over-month basis, there was 0% inflation for June, below expectations of 0.2. So producer inflation is cooling down. Yesterday, we got the CPI lie. It did tick up. It was worse than expectations. But producer prices, they're actually trending down. And so this whole narrative that tariffs were going to be incredibly inflationary, we just haven't seen it materialize in the data yet. So maybe there's something coming that I don't know about. We have tariffs that are going to go back into effect on August 1st. But so far, the mainstream media, talking head pundits, and failing economists who predicted that inflation was going to be back off to the races have been wrong. Now, inflation hasn't gone away, but it definitely hasn't overheated. And so we're going to continue to watch this. Now, the Fed is still in a position where they don't need to cut rates. Doesn't look like they want to cut rates. And so it looks like we're still going to be stuck with Fed Chair Jerome Powell, higher interest rates for longer. So please prepare for that when you're going through your portfolio, your investments, and the way that you run your business. Now, speaking of printing money and a little bit of inflation, we have another billion Tether that has just been printed out of thin air to artificially prop up Bitcoin's price. That's now over 4 billion this week alone. Talk about making the money printer go burr. How about the Tether money printer going all in to pump the Ponzi before they get shut down by the regulations this week? This impending crash will be magnificent. And this is why I would watch out here. How will the stablecoin legislation impact Tether? They don't want to come into compliance with MiCA. Fatal mistake. They don't want to come into compliance here in America with the Genius Act. Also another fatal blow for Tether. And you know, Tether accounts for over 50% of the trading volume in the entire cryptocurrency space, even a significant amount of the XRP volume. Now, good thing for XRP and the XRP ledger is that we got a replacement for Tether right onto our chain with not only RLUSD now available, but we also now have USDC available on the XRP ledger. But for coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others that are heavily dominated by Tether pairings and trading, this is a big concern, a data point that we've been talking about for a while. With stablecoin legislation set to get passed today in the House, once the Genius Act is passed in the House today, it goes straight to President Trump's desk for signing into law. So this whole idea of is Tether going to comply or not, we're going to get to find out sooner rather than later, right? Now, with the other bills that are going to get passed in the House this morning, the anti-CBDC bill and the Clarity Act, which is the market structure bill, those would still need to go back to the Senate and then they can go to President Trump. But because the Genius Act stablecoin legislation was already passed in the Senate, once it passes in the House today, it's straight off to President Trump's desk. And so Tether could not be in compliance with the American stablecoin legislation as soon as this weekend. Now, does that mean Black Swan is imminent for this weekend? Not so quick. But it's something to watch for, something to prepare for. Now, John Wingate, he is the CEO of Bank Social. He says that we are the only company live on FedNow and real-time payments moving money today for banks. And we use Hedera, HCS, for transaction state checks, means all transactions are immutably verified on chain. And we also use Ripple for cross-border. No one else has anything close. So we know that July 14th was the big FedWire update to ISO date. The new financial system is here. I warned about how it was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, which it was. We got a little bit of a pullback, nothing dramatic, but we were not expecting a moonshot like some people were who really have no analysis and are just throwing darts blindly at the board. No idea what they're doing besides they can only shill hopium. But what we were expecting was actually the rollout of this to be kind of a nothing burger for price action. But I've been saying that this is massive as far as the new financial system and the direction that we're heading in. And there's a big difference between people who are actually live using these products, using the blockchain technology, and those who are pretending. And so I wanted to share this from Max Avery. He shares a good point right here. I see some people talk about the FedNow service showcase page occasionally, and I want to point out that those projects have just completed a readiness test and paid a fee to be listed on the page. Now, I'm not trying to pick on anybody in particular. One project that does come to mind, though, is Proton, right? Proton, I think they have the Metal blockchain, too. There's a whole deal going on. And I've had my eyes on Proton for a while. And one of the things that I continue to see is, folks saying that, oh, they're, one of the few institutions that's live on FedNow. That's just not the case. They paid the fee to be included in the showcase, saying that they're ready to use FedWire, but there's a big difference between being ready to use it and actually moving money using cryptocurrency on FedWire. Like Bank Social CEO John Wingate just said, they are the only one doing it as of right now. And who are they working with? Hedera and Ripple. Not Proton. Okay, so, and I've been talking about this for a while, not just on Proton, but other projects too, that share meaningless partnerships, that share that they've been consulting this or this institution, that say, oh, we're ready for FedWire, that say, oh, we're ISO compliant. That's fantastic. Name one institution that's actually using your cryptocurrency for payments, for utility, holding it as a reserve, using it for anything, right? And that's where the rubber meets the road, or in the case with many of these projects, there ain't nothing cooking over in that ecosystem other than fake partnerships, meaningless partnerships, a little bit of consulting, a little bit of showing up for a fireside chat and a photo op, but we're not actually using the cryptocurrency technology. So be careful who you listen to and what you invest in. A lot of pretenders out here. One company that doesn't pretend, they just get deals done and actually are using the DLT technology, the crypto, that would be Ripple. In partnership with Control Alt and the Dubai Land Department, Ripple Custody will deliver scalable and secure storage for the Dubai Land Department's tokenized real estate title deeds, which have been issued on the XRP ledger. This is not a consultation. This is not a photo op. This is a real partnership on the XRP ledger. Tokenizing real estate title deeds on the ledger, enabling fractional ownership, transparency, and global access to Dubai's real estate market. Another example of Ripple actually getting these institutions, in this case the government, to actually tokenize real world assets on the chain using XRP. And we're going to continue to update you guys on that because I think that this is kind of a test model, and this can be expanded into other jurisdictions, other real world assets, but a great use case right now that's live, not in a proof of concept, not in a trial, not in a consultation. We might think about it, live on the ledger now. Big difference. Now let's talk about it. XRP The Big Resistance is what I titled this episode because that's where we're at with XRP right now, up against a massive sell wall between $3 and $3.50. Now, are we going to break through? Absolutely. But how easy is it going to be? It's not going to be any easy feat. We're going to need the bulls to come in, and we're going to need some aggressive inflows for us to break through these levels. Now, Dom TraderView gives us his XRP Orderbook analysis. We have reached a very pivotal level around the $3 mark, which is arguably the last area that is holding back XRP from an all-time high run. This area coincides with large levels on the US oil, BTC, and total, etc. pairings. So we got a confluence between XRP versus other assets, multiple pairings, and we're seeing the same resistance for XRP. Both Binance and Coinbase spot markets have a large chunk of sell orders from here to around $3.50, which after that becomes very thin as of now. Now, if you have sell orders between $3 and $3.50, I don't know what you're doing. I just, from me to you, I'm not going to be your financial advisor. I would never give you financial advice, but I don't know what the hell you're thinking. If you're selling between 3 and 350, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what the move is. Maybe you have something in the real world that you need to pay off, some debts. I understand stuff like that comes up. But if you're just like taking short-term profits between 3 and 350, you're cooked. Straight up. I'm just being honest with you. You're cooked. You're absolutely toast because we're going a lot higher. We are going to need some aggressive behavior from bulls to break through this major area, as this is the largest resistance XRP has faced since this trend started. Here are the XRP flows over the last 24 hours. Net selling for most exchanges besides Upbit, Bitstamp, and Kraken, two of which have little impact on price. That would be Bitstamp and Kraken. Mostly, it's been Upbit and Korea, which just took us from $2 all the way up to $3 once again. Shout out to the Koreans on Upbit. Big inflows, baby. We love to see it. And this is why I've been saying that we still have a lot of room, because America hasn't turned bullish yet for whatever reason. Coinbase, we haven't seen big net inflows. Kraken, you've seen minimal inflows. And so Americans haven't turned bullish yet. And the rest of the world, for that fact, hasn't really turned bullish yet. But Korea solely took us from really $1.90 all the way up here to $3. And so we'll see if this changes. But for now, it's been net selling from the rest of the world. Considering the large supply is sitting above us on Binance and Coinbase, we need to see their flows turn bullish to eat these sell walls. Exactly kind of like I just said, right? Not selling from market orders plus large sell walls will not get us through this resistance. So the formula for an all-time high run as of now is aggressive buying on Coinbase and Binance. That's what we're going to be watching for now. Okay? We need to see Coinbase and Binance flip bullish. Now, speaking of exchanges and order books, one exchange that's actually not an exchange, it's actually a brokerage service. I was just going to say, though, I wish that we could see the inflows and outflows from Caleb and Brown and Uphold, but because both of them are brokerages, we don't get to track that. They're using multiple exchanges, liquidity providers, OTC desks. They're even using the XRP Ledger DEX at times to source their liquidity. And for that reason, we don't get to track their net flows on CoinGlass, where we're tracking, Bitstamp, Kraken, Coinbase, Binance, and others. But one thing that we can say is that Caleb and Brown has been providing incredible service to our community so far. I wanted to give them a quick shout out right here. They put out this post earlier this morning. You don't need a whale-sized wallet to be treated like one. With Caleb and Brown, every client gets the VIP treatment. I just wanted to let you guys know it is free to sign up and receive institutional custody from day one. And I just sent another big bag of XRP to Caleb and Brown this past weekend. So, there's no minimum. It's free to get in, and it is free for their institutional grade custody. So that's no charge. So if you just want to park some assets over there to have it in institutional grade custody, no cost to you. When they do charge, it's when you actually are conducting some trades. And I would encourage you guys to actually compare apples to apples. You might be looking at their trading fee thinking, oh, wow, that's a little steep. Compare it to where you're going to get hit with slippage. You're going to get hit with the trading fee. You're going to get hit with the withdrawal fee. And you're going to get hit with withdrawal limits on these other platforms. Caleb and Brown, they've been flawless in the execution of the trades that I've done so far, but they've also gotten me cash in my bank in less than a day, no problems, every single time I've withdrawn from their platform. So that's why I just sent another bag of XRP over there this weekend, a big one, and I'm getting all my ducks in a row because we see what's coming for the XRP price action. We want to make sure that we're prepared. So that's linked up down below for your guys' convenience. Cassie trades with her TA. XRP is holding serious momentum and the chart continues to play out beautifully. Price pulled back to $2.85, the 236 fib retracement. It continues to hold bullish retrace levels like the 118 and the 236. That's exactly what we want to see in bullish continuation. Shallow pullbacks showing the market is still strong. A lot of buying pressure, a lot of limit orders being placed right below $3. So on any pullback that we're getting, these buyers are just eating it up. Now XRP is making its way towards $3.04 again, the next macro resistance level. Flipping this into support is the final major hurdle before we enter price discovery. There's a strong trend line forming on the hourly chart, helping us monitor support, resistance, and timing. Based on that, we should see a breakout to $3.18 today. Whoa, hello. A little 318 today for you. How about that? Just getting started. Where I am seeing clear resistance across several degrees. This would be an incredibly bullish signal. If we hit $3.18, then pull back, look for a back test of the 304 fib. Trendline indicates that this could happen through Friday. Playing out the way I've described would be a strong signal that the market is ready to accelerate. If momentum stays strong, we could see XRP begin a vertical expansion very, very soon. Here's her chart. Love to see it. Push to 318, backtest 304, all-time high next week. How you doing? All-time high this weekend? Hey, how about that? Now, XRP did just push up above $3, backtest to 296 as I record this update live, but it's moving quick. I got to run. I got a one-on-one call scheduled here. And I wanted to mention, if you guys are looking to sit down with me one-on-one, I won't give you financial advice, but I will share my opinions. We can have a candid conversation. And so that's available, linked up down below for you guys as well. And now is the time to get into our Discord community. You want to be with somebody providing you real analysis, real timelines, real targets, willing to put themselves out on the line like we do every single day. But we are over the target. We're going to be conducting our trades in real time as we go through the next 60 days of this bull run in the cycle top. It's going to be moving quick. I'll show you one more time. On my XRP price chart, I got $4 to $5 coming in here soon by the end of this month into the beginning of August, and I got a $7 to $15 XRP coming in by September 7th. Lock in with us. Everything's available at ZachRector.com. Smack it and tap it for us on the way out. We would greatly appreciate it. God bless you all. Thank you. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.